what, like third or fourth take now we're trying to do this?
What do you mean, third or fourth
The
take?
fifth take.
You're putting this in. It's what
It's
makes
all,
it
yeah.
the whole thing.
It's all. We're redoing the whole thing. But it's fine. We'll talk about the bloopers in another day. But for today, welcome everyone. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here after being convinced by a few people, a few friends, family, colleagues, to finally get into this podcast thing. Here we are, episode 1. So everyone, welcome to Po-litics. It's a wonderful play on the word. All credit goes to my girlfriend for the amazing name. A lot of you know me as Sipho Zungu. Some of you know me as Counselor Zungu. And of course, close friends and family know me as Po. Hence the play on the word politics, but you get it. This podcast, in as much as it has been a long time coming, I think it's an essential one because there's a lot of voices out there in the current political environment, in the media environment. And I think it's only apt that I perhaps maybe get my name or my few cents thrown into the ring, into the pot. On this podcast, we're going to be exploring a few things. We're going to be exploring current affairs, as we all need to be kept abreast with what's happening in our country, because a lot of us may not know all of the things and all the dynamics that are happening in South Africa. So we will be delving into matters of current affairs, governance. We'll be getting to understand politics, government, and governance, and how that whole domain works. We will also be touching on aspects of how do we go about changing South Africa, because we all can agree our country is in a state where it is desperately crying out for change. And in as much as knowing what the change is or knowing that our country needs to be changed is only the first step, we also will be exploring the solutions that will bring about the change that we are looking for in South Africa. But for today's episode, we're going to be focusing on one critical thing. It's a very important question. And I think it's a question that has been on a number of our minds. It may have not been phrased in this way, but I know a number of you would have been thinking about this question in some way, shape, or form. And that question is, does South Africa need a better breed of politicians? And I think you and I both agree that they do. Well, not even they, we do as a country. And this is not just something that has a thought or a question that has come about of recent. I think this is the question that has been plaguing my mind, and I know it's been plaguing the minds of many South Africans for many years. I mean, we see the decline in voter participation. It's of no coincidence because people feel like there are no new options. There's hundreds of political parties to choose from, but none of them feel distinctly different. There's thousands of politicians to choose from, but again, none of them feel distinctly different. In fact, we're currently faced with a situation whereby we all can agree that politicians in the main are just being recycled. I mean, we have the likes of Helen Ziller, who's, in my perspective, come out of retirement to get involved in politics. And I know, hey, listen, maybe she's got a strong conviction for wanting to get involved and try to make a change, but we got to admit that we're kind of just recycling what we already have. We're not producing a new breed of politicians. And it's not even a matter of age, because we even have younger politicians, young and upcoming politicians that are just, quite frankly, playing the same game, following the same script. I mean, let's dive into one of the examples, Liam Jacobs. Was a rising star in the DA, went straight within his earlier years of being part of the DA, and then of recent in the 2024 elections was elected in as a parliamentarian. And I obviously had watched a number of his videos before becoming a parliamentarian. And one, we all could agree that he was becoming quite a recognizable voice within the political space. And for a moment, when he got into parliament, and you could see the way he was questioning officials, various leaders of various departments and institutions, it for a second, for a brief second, it felt like, maybe this might just be that the glimmer of hope we're looking for. Maybe this might just be that breed of politicians we're actually looking for. Sadly, though, it wasn't. Sadly, Liam played the very same script every other politician before him has played. What do I mean by this? Liam joined the DA. Not too long ago, he left the DA for the PA. And literally like a month and a half back, a month or so back, he then comes from the PA back to the DA. Now, why is this a problem? Here's why it's a problem, and here's why it feels like it's a script. A number of us have seen prominent political figures jump from one political party to the other political party and from one to another. The likes of Musi Maimane going from the DA, creating his own bossa. We've got a number of, there's been so many. I mean, a number of the political parties that we even see today are because of politicians that left one party to start a whole new party or join a whole new party. And the reason why, and for this reason, I feel like Liam Jacobs is following the same script that every other politician has already created. Because we can assume that Liam Jacobs joined the DA on the basis of principle, on the basis of value. We assume that based on what he's mentioned in much older videos, that he agreed with a number of things that the DA stood for, which is good. We need politicians to be people who are principled, to be people who are aligned with values. However, we know that then he had issues in the DA and then went from the DA to the PA. And at the time, we assumed that when he joined that live that Gates McKenzie had started up and he did the come up and the funny kuku, which was quite amusing at that time. But we all assume that, okay, he's left the DA and gone to PA because he feels perhaps that his values and principles are more aligned with the PA than with the DA. But it seems he's gone and proved our assumption wrong, because he then went from the PA back to the DA and stated that he, after saying he was at home at the PA, to then say he wasn't at home at the PA because he wasn't gelling well, like the structures and how they worked and what they stood for wasn't gelling well with him. So then we have to ask ourselves the question: this rising politician, why did he then leave the DA? Was it just for vibes? What's going on? Are people not standing on principle? So we have. So it's not even. So like I said, it's not even. It's not a thing about age even. It's just the fact that everyone's following the same script. South Africa is producing the same type of politician over and over again. We see it with Liam Jacobs. We see it with Gator McKenzie. Gator McKenzie, who was never involved in politics before, well, at least not directly, burst onto the scene late 2020, early 2021 to that's when PA, even though PA existed before, PA really hit the scene in the 2020-2021 year, because we saw them make a bit of a big splash in Johannesburg. We saw them make a bit of a splash in Ekurhuleni. We saw them make a bit of a splash in the Karoo in the Northern Cape. And we even saw Gator McKenzie become the mayor in the Northern Cape, in the municipality of the Karoo. And for a brief moment, just as with Liam Jacobs, we thought, okay, perhaps this is a new breed coming along here, because Gayton came along and he told us that he's going to be doing things differently. He clearly told he's after power so that he can bring about change. And a number of people bought into that. And perhaps for me, for the first few days or first few months of him being the mayor in that municipality, and we see he's out here saying that he's doing these things, and the media is documenting that he's bringing about some sort of change. And we all felt like, okay, perhaps we're producing some sort of new breed of politician. Only to then be proven wrong again. Gayton McKenzie follows the same old script of every other politician. Because what happens? Gayton McKenzie gets to Parliament and unfortunately sells himself to the highest bidder. In his case, Ramaphosa, because we see him going from being super critical about the ANC and Ramaphosa to being super defensive about Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, if some of you had seen the impeachment committee of the last special emergency impeachment committee that they had, to review as to whether they would be challenging the interdict that Ramaphosa was bringing. Out of every single party, Al Jama and PA were the only ones who felt like the impeachment committee shouldn't be objecting to or fighting against this interdict. So we see again, we thought a new breed was coming along with Gates McKenzie, only to then find out now he's following the same old script. And it's not just with Liam, it's not just with Gates, it's with almost every other parliamentarian that we see in Parliament, that each and every one of us has voted to represent us in Parliament. Now I say almost, I'm not saying every single parliamentarian has followed the script. There are a few rising stars in there that are really making an impact. But if you have been following the Madlanga Commission, you would have known that in very recent inquiries, they had one of the witnesses that had interrogated some rather damning evidence had come out. For those of you who don't know this name, but Feroz Khan, who is a senior SAPS official within the Crime Intelligence Department, turns out that he had an affidavit that was supplied and submitted that had damning evidence to prove that there's been collusion between those a handful of parliamentarians, those within crime intelligence, including Feroz Khan, and some notorious figures that could be linked to the underworld. And the very same people that ordinary South Africans like you and I had entrusted power with by the use of our vote to put them into parliament, hoping that they would serve our interests, it only turns out that they followed the same old script that every other politician follows. And they served the interests of those who fill their pockets. So we're sitting now as South Africans in yet another election year. And we got to ask ourselves the question, does South Africa need a better breed of politicians? And quite frankly, the answer is yes. Yes, South Africa desperately needs a new breed of politician. But what that new breed of politician is, we're going to explore in the following episodes. In the next episode that we film, we're going to be delving into what are the characteristics that this new breed of politician should possess? What are the principles that he or she should subscribe to? What are the values that he or she should follow and be instilled with? And I want each and every one of you to also get involved in this, because this is going to be a group project that we're going to undergo here. It's not just going to be my ideas of what I think this new breed of politician should be, but I feel like it should be our idea of what this new breed of politician should be. So, what I want you to do is, in the comment section, if you're watching this on YouTube, or you're watching it on Facebook, or you're watching it on Instagram or TikTok, or wherever it is you're watching, whatever platform you're watching it, in the comment section, I want you just to share your thoughts on what you think this new breed or new type of politician should be. Spitball, just give out a few ideas of what their characteristics should be, what kind of personality they should possess, what sort of values they should be subscribing to, what sort of principles they should be following. And I will look at those comments, and in the next episode, we will then dive into creating the framework around which this new breed of politician should be. So, with that being said, I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Remember to like the video, share it if you can with friends and family. We want to get South Africa talking about how we can really turn our political situation around, how we can really turn this country, bring about change for the betterment of this country. And it all starts off with a simple conversation. And it's going to be a lengthy process, but we're going to go on this journey together. And hopefully on the other side, we will all come to the conclusion of knowing what we want and knowing how to bring about what we want, and what are the action steps we need to take and the solutions we need to implement to bring about this new breed of politician that will ultimately culminate in the full overhaul of our political landscape of South Africa. So, like the video, share it with friends and family, comment what are the characteristics of this new breed of politician, what are the values, what are the principles, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, and remember, we talk politics, not politics.